The following is a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
Crossed Flags, a racing podcast. It's your midweek fix for racing news and information. Brought to you by the Championship Racing Network. Now let's head trackside to join your hosts, Steve West and Matt Nicholson.
I'm Steve West, Matt Nicholson right here. Welcome to the latest edition of Cross Flags, episode number 32, as we continuously barrel towards the holidays, which means we're barreling towards the end of the 2024 racing season in not just one, but three different series. NASCAR's got only two more races left, NHRA's got only two more events left, and Formula One is down to a handful. It's crunch time, ladies and gentlemen. We got plenty to get to here. We're going to be talking about Matt Mills, who was involved in a pretty bad accident over the weekend in the Truck Series race. We'll talk about the aftermath of that. And we'll also talk about kind of a Craftsman Truck Series-centric show, because we had one team that decided to just fold, and then another team quickly rose out of the ashes of that particular folding. But first, want to get to a couple of things. And we've been talking about silly season and specifically where are these Stewart-Haas racing drivers going? And we've talked about several of them, actually. We know, for example, that Cole Custer is going to be up back into the Cup Series, going to be driving the lone, it appears, Haas team, the Haas factory team car, the 41. Where's everybody else going? Well, Noah Gragson's gone. We know that. Josh Berry's gone. That's been announced. We were wondering, though, where was Ryan Preece going to go? And we were kind of wondering whether he was even going to get a ride, because he's not a bad driver. He's a good short track driver specifically. Acquitted himself quite well at Homestead Miami this past weekend as well. But it wasn't announced. Turns out he's got a ride. There are several reasons why it hadn't been officially announced, though, or several reasons why potential reasons why it was not announced. Could be that his contract with Stewart-Haas Racing didn't allow it, but that's probably not true because of everything's already been announced. Could be that it was a situation with his pending new team and some of the contracts that needed to have all the ink dried on it before it happened. Could be any number of things, truth be told. Enter Brad Moran.
The oh-so genius, competent genius of an individual that is the Cup Series director has the absolute gaffe of the year.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Brad Keselowski and the people at RFK were salivating at the mouth and flames flying out of their ears.
Yes, it appears that Mr. Moran appeared in a segment where he was interviewed on SiriusXM Satellite Radio's NASCAR channel, and he got to talking about them having done some testing recently, and he let it slip that Ryan Preece was out there driving his number 60 RFK Racing, quote, which is the ride he'll have next year. That's funny. RFK Racing didn't say anything about it, and neither did Ryan Preece. Congratulations on letting the cat out of the bag early there, Brad Moran. Yeah.
I'm going to shut up.
I'm going to shut up. We've talked about NASCAR officials appearing on different shows, doing different interviews, and saying things that, well, they shouldn't say, or in other words, putting their size whatever foot in their mouth. Brad, you stepped in it, dude. You stepped in it.
Yeah.
Another thing that we want to talk about here, and I vented not that long ago, in fact, just a couple of weeks ago on this particular podcast, about when you've cut the cable, no satellite, no cable, just doing streaming stuff, how difficult it is to find things. And for NASCAR, like I've got a Peacock subscription. One would think that would cover almost all, if not all, of the NBC sports. Well, it turns out it covers a lot less than one might think. None of the NASCAR stuff is on there unless they specifically call it. And for whatever reason, however much money that they're paying for it, only a couple of races have appeared or will appear on the Peacock network. For example, I know that the Phoenix Championship race will appear on Peacock because they've announced it. Last weekend's race at Homestead, not there. If you want to watch practice and or qualifying for this weekend's race at Martinsville, it's not on Peacock. Matt, where are you going to find it?
You would find it on the NBC Sports app.
Why can you put it on the NBC Sports app and not put it on Peacock? Is it that hard to just, flip a switch and make sure that it's on both? Is it that hard? Is it really that difficult?
With the capabilities of NBC Network, I'm sure it'd be pretty easy. But,
or then again, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know what kind of equipment they're running. Maybe they're running World War II surplus equipment. I don't know.
But one thing that I can't understand for this method they're going with next year. I cannot understand it. Next year, for the first half of the year, Amazon Prime Video has Cup practice and qualifying, except for the Clash, Daytona, and the All-Star race, which Fox Sports still has. For the second half, Cup practice and qualifying is on True TV and Max.
Do you even know where you have True TV? I mean, Max, I've got the Max streaming service. You know where True TV is? Assuming that you still have cable?
It's at the very bottom of the channel list.
Have fun finding that. Talk about trying to hide something.
Why?
And when did True TV suddenly become an alternate sports network for NBC?
I don't know. I mean, it's coming in somewhere from the Turner part of it next year because that's a Turner channel.
I guess.
I can't. I don't understand it.
I can't fathom it.
Leave it like it is. Where have we heard this scenario before? Where have we heard this saying before? And I know it's come out of my mouth. It's come out of his mouth. And I know darn well it's come out of the mouth of one Matthew Coulter, the lead trackside public address announcer at the friendly confines of Talladega Superspeedway.
If it ain't broke,
don't fix it. That's simple.
But we continue to mess with it. I mean, okay, Fox cuts a deal with Amazon. This gives them an opportunity to actually be able to make some of their deal out with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Gives Dale Earnhardt Jr. a lot more time behind a microphone. That at least is very clear. We know, okay, practice qualifying, except for the select races that he mentioned. You go to Amazon Prime and then you go to Fox and you get the race. True TV, maybe Max, we don't know. Could be on the NBC Sports app, might be on Peacock, might be on NBC itself. Huh? Please, confuse us more. Why don't you?
It's the way they do it. They may have it on CNBC for all we know.
Guys, you lost the Indycar rights. Fox is picking those up. What am I missing? I don't get it. All right. Let's pick it up from there. Let's talk a little bit of the Truck Series situation and racing at Homestead, Miami on Saturday, and there was a crash. And apparently this was somewhat of retribution from what I'm hearing between two drivers, Matt Mills, Connor Jones, getting into each other. The result is this right here, what you see on that picture right there. And this is the aftermath. We didn't take a picture of the actual contact between the two. But you can see the truck is on fire.
I saw the contact.
Truck gets into pretty much a worse situation than that. And by the time this is Matt Mills, by the way, in the number 42 Nice Motorsports truck. By the time he's able to bring that truck to a stop, unstrap himself, get out of the truck, he's dealt with a whole lot of smoke inhalation. And it concerned the people at the Infield Care Center enough that they took him to a local hospital. And he had to stay. Not just one night, but two. Because of some form of retribution, which you said you saw the wreck.
Yeah, that's what you call an absolutely pure mental lapse. Something you cannot afford to have when you're driving around a 180 mile per hour missile.
Yeah.
You can't afford to have that.
And the thing about the retribution side of it, and we'll get to a statement from Connor Jones here in a moment. The retribution side of it, we've seen retribution on the track before.
And Homestead's not a place to do it.
But what have we seen in the past that causes us to go back to the whole thing about NASCAR? You need to be more consistent in your rulings. When we've seen retribution in the past, witness, let me think. Kyle Busch, Vegas, if I remember correctly, some years back. Or was it the track? I can't remember the exact track, but it was Kyle Busch in a Truck Series race, was considered to have sought out and gotten retribution on somebody by intentionally wrecking them. He got parked for the rest of the Truck Series race. He was entered in both the Xfinity and the Cup Series race for that weekend as well. And NASCAR said, nope, you're sitting out both of those too.
That was Texas when he wrecked Ron Hornaday Jr.
I knew it was one of those 1.5 mile cookie cutters. What did they do to Connor Jones for intentionally wrecking Matt Mills? They parked him for 2 laps. Really? That's it? I'm sorry, what happened to the whole parking him for not just the rest of this race, but the next 2 races?
As of 15 minutes ago, he has been suspended for Martinsville.
Oh, wow. Congratulations there, NASCAR. You finally got around to it. Connor Jones put out a statement here, and we're going to show this to you on the screen here, and we're not necessarily going to read it word for word. This came out on Monday morning while Matt Mills was still in the hospital, so he had not had the opportunity to speak to him. It's now Wednesday as we record this, so we can presume he might have had an opportunity to maybe reach out to him and see if they can't talk this out.
PR rep statement right there, people.
Oh, yeah.
PR rep all day long.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, he does need to apologize to everybody because you don't use a race truck as a form of retribution. So, yes, he does need to apologize to everybody. But what the heck? What did he do that was so bad there, Connor, that you felt like you had to do that?
He raced him hard.
Ooh.
He was racing him hard.
Dang. Dude, grow up. Welcome to racing in NASCAR.
Yay.
You're going to find that the racing is only going to get harder, my man. But you get to sit out Martinsville, so you don't get to appreciate that. So, Connor, good luck. From what I understand, you're a fairly talented kid, but you got to get your head screwed on straight, man.
Yesterday on the Door Bumper Clear podcast is recorded for Dirty Mo Media. This got Freddie Kraft, TJ Majors, and Brett Griffin, all 3 spotters. Freddie Kraft hit the nail on the head in regards to Connor Jones. He's a heck of a race car driver. He's won several races on the Cars Tour. Good, talented driver, but the mental lapse that he showed Saturday, and this is me saying it very, very clean, Freddie unloaded. The mental lapse that he had Saturday shows that he is not mentally prepared to compete at this level.
Yeah.
Yet. He's got a lot of growing up to do.
And I heard that there was a chance because the truck that he was driving was for ThorSport, which is not a bad team to drive for.
No.
If you can get your foot in the door there, you've got yourself in really good equipment. I don't know whether this has blown any opportunity for him to have a future there or whether he's already been signed and we just haven't heard anything announced yet, whatever it is. But yeah, Connor, got some growing up to do, man. Got some maturing to do.
He's on the entry list, so now it's going to be interesting to see who ThorSport gets a hold of to fill that seat.
Yeah, because time's running
ThorSport, for Martinsville, because
time's running out pretty quick.
They race Friday and today's Wednesday.
Yeah. Have they talked about, I haven't found out, have they cleared Matt Mills?
Matt Mills is cleared to race.
Okay. So Matt should be there. Speaking of which, we'll show you the next statement here from his team. Nice Motorsports specifically put this statement out talking about Matt Mills and his stay in the hospital and when he got released, which did happen, by the way, Monday afternoon, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
And glad that he was able to be treated and, you know, they were able to take care of things, get him out there, get him back to 100%, put him back out there. I'm looking forward to seeing what Matt's going to be able to do on the track. Is he on the list for Martinsville? Okay, there you go.
He is.
Talk about a rough race, man.
They're
riding at the paperclip.
Think there are 37 trucks. on the list, and they start 36. So
One's going home. One's going home. Okay.
Somebody's going home.
Well, we know one that's not on the list. Guy who won the 2020 ARCA Menard Series race. We're going to show you the logo of one Brett Holmes Racing. It's very, very interesting to note here because where we are, in case you didn't know, we are recording this in Birmingham, Alabama. Brett is an Alabama kid. He's from Munford, a place that my co-host Matt knows quite well. It's very, very local. In fact, it's a nice driver shot away from Talladega Superspeedway, if you want to put it that way.
Literally.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, really close to Talladega Superspeedway. Brett Holmes wins the 2020 ARCA Menard Series title, starts to kind of dabble in the truck series while running some ARCA stuff. And then this past year, full blast. Nothing ARCA, all truck series. Until it was the week leading up to Homestead Miami. So not quite a week ago now. When did we officially hear about them shutting down?
25th.
Okay, then. Just a couple of days, literally, before we're slated to go racing at Homestead Miami. Nope, we're done. They released a statement that said, yep, we're closing our doors. We're selling all of our equipment. The driver, by the way, hopes to continue to race in 2025. But Brett Holmes Racing is no more. Ashes, burned to the ground, whatever you want to call it. Probably no hope of resurrection, even though the driver technically is still active. Doesn't have a ride for next year. It's still very early. So what happens at that point in time? Well, this guy steps in. We're about to show you a picture of a gentleman by the name of Chris Hettinger. Chris was an aspiring racer himself at one point in time, but he figured my talents lie elsewhere. He began a company. I'll let Matt fill in all the details here in just a moment. His daughter is a racer, Katie.
Katie, yep.
And he has a company called Chris Hettinger Racing, whose logo we'll show you here in just a moment as well. I know, we're running through a whole bunch of pictures here. We're making Kerry earn his money this weekend. They've been running, super late models?
Cars Tour.
Cars Tour.
Cars Tour late models and Pro late models.
With Katie.
And
under that banner.
And another guy, I can't remember his name. And he just started into ARCA, run a couple of ARCA races this year. The first one they ran, if I'm not mistaken, was at Bristol, and they teamed up with Rackley War because Dawson Sutton drove the ARCA car at Bristol.
Okay. So now that you have a little bit of an idea of the background of Hettinger Racing, they've been around for a little bit. They saw the opportunity. They went and they bought the equipment from Brett Holmes Racing. So rising from the ashes of Brett Holmes is the Phoenix of Hettinger Racing in the truck series. And initially, we were kind of thinking, yeah, they're probably setting everything up, getting ready to go for 2025. Yeah, no. The next picture we're going to show you is this truck. Again, this is the former Brett Holmes Racing, number 32, which has been repainted or, rewrapped. And given the number 4.
If you can read that name above the door real carefully.
Brett Moffitt. Nice pull for Hettinger Racing. Brett Moffitt. And this is a truck that probably will not only be at Martinsville this weekend, but is probably slated to be at Phoenix.
It will be at Phoenix.
With Brett Moffitt behind the wheel, too. Not a bad deal for the debut for Hettinger Racing in the truck series. But let's kind of go back here. Let's go back to the Brett Holmes situation. Because this came seemingly out of the blue.
It caught a lot of people off guard. And everybody's, huh? With only just a handful of races left to go, in a lot of fashions, let's word it that way, a lot of fashions, you'll see teams complete the year and then they decide what they're going to do for the following season, upcoming season. They'll do that in the off season between seasons. That's the word of the day, seasons.
There you go.
This one was kind of like huh?
Yeah.
Where'd that come from?
We were really thrown for a loop there. And then to hear that the team has decided that they're going to shut down, but yet the driver decides, hey, I still want to ride. I still want to race in 2025. Kind of got you wondering exactly what the story is behind the scenes. And nobody's talking right now. We can make suppositions all day long, but sorry, I'm not going to do that. I could assume that it's this. I could presume it's that. But in the end, that would all be rumor and innuendo. And that does no service to Brett Holmes Racing or anybody that was involved with the team, be they an employee, be they the founder, be they the driver. None of it serves anything. So we're not going to go into supposition mode here. Either way, yes, it really did kind of fly out of left field, way outside of left field from way over in foul territory and freaked everybody out because we had also heard that what used to be the 32 truck did have sponsorship for Homestead, Martinsville, and Phoenix.
Yeah, that's...
Don't know.
I don't know. For the ones that do watch this that don't know, I have very close connection. I'm married to Brett's sister. And I've not had there's been absolutely zero talk or conversation of what led to this or what led to that in regards to this. And I have nothing.
Yeah.
I'm just as in the dark as everybody else, which ultimately at the end of the day, that's their decision.
Yeah.
Not my business.
We have talked about how difficult it is to make it at the top, specifically at the top levels of NASCAR, but really at almost any level of racing, it is difficult nowadays when you're going on these national touring series to be able to survive as just a one car or one truck operation anymore. Mm-hmm. Very, very lone wolf sort of thing. You're kind of almost in some ways going race by race for sponsorship. You're fighting the uphill battle because you're dealing with these 2, 3, and 4, sometimes more truck and car teams, depending on what level you're at, who are able to gather so much more information because they've got, again, 2 drivers, 3 drivers, 4 drivers out there all saying, hey, this is what I'm dealing with when I'm out on the track. Watch out for this, or we need to adjust for this because this is what I'm experiencing on the track.
Well, like you just said, when you got literally with the entry list this weekend at Martinsville, between McAnally Hilgeman, ThorSport, and Tricon alone, those 3 operations account for right at 50% of the field.
Think about that for a couple of minutes.
That's a very uphill battle.
All that information comes together and allows those teams to be able to work together for the betterment of the whole team, not just one driver. And when you're fighting up against something like that, who knows what happened? But that probably had something to do with it. Enter Chris Hettinger. And again, who is Chris Hettinger? He was an aspiring racer at one time who went into the business world.
Yeah, he owns. He's the owner and president of Victory Custom Trailers in North Carolina, which is a pretty sizable outfit to do like custom car haulers, custom utility trailers, anything of that nature right there. That's a pretty large outfit that he owns, and it's a pretty successful one in the Carolinas, from my understanding.
So Chris decides that he wants to keep his foot in the racing world. His daughter apparently caught the bug, so he started Hettinger Racing. We showed you the logo for that just a few moments ago. And they've been running around and trying to work their way up through the crowd. Katie not quite ready. I'm not sure she's old enough.
I think Katie's 16, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so she's not quite ready for prime time when it comes to moving up to the truck series, but this is Dad setting up his ability, number one, to keep his foot in the racing world, and number two, if his daughter can progress at the rate that he's hoping.
Katie's 17.
17, okay. So, this may end up being her truck here in a year or two if she is able to impress her dad enough to be able to go ahead and put her in the car or in the truck. You can see the logo, Victory Custom Trailers, right there on the hood. So it's his way of kind of doing what Gene Haas has been talking about. The reason he's decided to keep everything instead of selling all the charters and the Xfinity Series operation off was because it was a great opportunity for him to advertise his own Haas automation systems. This is a great billboard for Victory Custom Trailers. So he's taken the opportunity to do that. I would imagine he probably would like to not pour all of the profits from this organization into the truck. He would like to get other sponsors. But knowing that he's been around for a little while, he's pretty comfortable in his own shoes, I would say he probably will work towards that. Again, this is just now him beginning. He's already got the basic setup ready to go. The shop is ready to go. You mentioned it. Cars Tour, ARCA, got his feet wet in that, and so on. So he's got himself an established base, and now he's just expanding it out. Not bad, though. Brett Moffitt in the truck on the first time, and we know the truck. Truck's not a bad truck. Brett Holmes Racing had some good equipment.
They did, and he got the entire operation turnkey. So it's there for the taking, and according to the submitted rosters that's on the NASCAR media website, every employee was kept. So
be interesting to see.
It should be, and I use that in a loose sense, should be a fairly seamless transition.
Yeah, and mentioned it when we talked about this on the big show on last Saturday, before he pulled out. Going into the race at Homestead, Miami, Brett Holmes was sitting 18th in points. So again, upper half of the points. Spectacular? Not necessarily, but top half when it comes to regular season points. That shows that the equipment's there.
And then I stand corrected. One employee did make a move. The crew chief, Mike Shiplett, and he moved over to Matt Mills's truck. So he's now the crew chief on the 42. But all the other employees, shop employees that were there, were kept, to my understanding.
Do we know who the crew chief's going to be for this weekend?
Yes.
For the 4 car?
Yes. Alan Heister, AJ.
Okay.
I know him personally. Good dude. This is a very outstanding opportunity for him and somebody that's been in the sport for a really long time. Only his other jobs, he is the fueler for the Big Machine 48 Xfinity car. And periodically, when a Cup car needs a fueler, he'll step up and fuel a Cup car. He's been on the 13 car for Carling recently. But AJ is really good. AJ is a very, very good dude.
Okay.
And this is a good shot for him, no doubt.
Hopefully we'll have a little bit more on the Matt Mills situation. Connor Jones, as we just mentioned, broke it right here in the fact that Connor Jones suspended for Martinsville, so he will not be in the truck this weekend for Thor Sport. We'll see whether or not he makes a comeback at Phoenix and what his plans might or might not be come 2025. That and so much more coming up on the big show Saturday. You can check it out on CRN Live on YouTube starting at 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central Time. We appreciate you joining us right here. Don't forget, right down below, subscribe here. We appreciate you doing that, and we will talk to you Saturday morning, and we will join you again next Wednesday right here for another edition of Crossed Flags.
You've been listening to Crossed Flags, a racing podcast. For more content like this, subscribe to CRN Live on YouTube, and you'll be set to catch the 2-hour live show every Saturday morning at 9 Eastern, 8 Central.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.